Massive transfer shockwaves at Ibrox as Rangers close in on a ruthless raid for Abu Kamara, with Hull City on their knees. Cut-price chaos incoming. Conor Coady deal still stalling as rivals circle and Rangers risk bottling it. Has the board fallen asleep at the wheel? And wait for it, Don Hutcherson fires a warning shot at Russell Martin's playing style while questioning the decision to snub Lawrence Shankland. Plus, Gassama's switch from a sinking ship to the Ibrox stage is nearly complete, and the 49ers show no mercy as they circle another English club in crisis. This window is heating up fast, and you won't believe what's next. Another one through the door at Ibrox, and it's yet another sign that the rebuild under Russell Martin is well and truly roaring into life. After the official announcement of Nasser Djiga, our 7th summer recruit, Rangers have reportedly struck a deal in principle to bring in yet another electric talent, this time from the English Championship step forward, Djeidi Gassama. Now, you might not have seen much of him unless you were watching the car crash that was Sheffield Wednesday last season, but amid all the chaos, Gassama stood tall, 8 goals, 1 assist, and the honour of being named the club's player of the year in a squad that was barely staying afloat. He was their spark, their bright light in a dark tunnel, and now he's swapping Hillsborough for the bright lights of Ibrox. The lad's pedigree is top draw. Product of the Paris Saint-Germain Academy, the same PSG that churns out stars like it's nothing. He made the leap to English football with Wednesday and brought with him that blend of technical sharpness and pure grit. He's fast, direct, not afraid to have a go, and still just 21. That's exactly the kind of fearless energy that we've been crying out for in wide areas. When you look at the business so far, Cameron, Aarons, Rothwell, Fernandez, Arsgaard, Cortez, permanently, Djiga on loan, it's clear the 49ers mean business. This isn't just plugging gaps. This is constructing a team with a clear identity, one that can press, move the ball quickly, and bring a bit of continental flair to go alongside the Scottish steel. But let's be honest here, this also feels like a direct response to how far behind we were last season. Celtic took the title, and that stings. You don't rebuild like this unless you're gunning for the throne. The board knows it, Martin knows it, and you know it. If Gassama hits the ground running with his pace and drive, he might just become the player that sets fire to the front line. Imagine him cutting inside at Ibrox, letting one fly into the top bin. That's the kind of excitement we've been missing in recent years. Rangers are clearly outspending and outsmarting Celtic this window. But if Gassama flops and Martin's revolution stalls, would you start to question whether we're trying to build too young, too fast, and without enough proven winners? I reckon this news alone deserves a like, don't you think? It really helps the channel grow, mate. Now, this is what you call proper business instincts. Rangers are sniffing around another championship talent, and this one could come at a serious bargain. Enter Abu Kamara, a 21-year-old winger with pace to burn and a real eye for goal. Currently stuck at a Hull City side that's financially on the ropes, Kamara, formerly of Norwich City's academy, was electric during his loan at Portsmouth last season. 8 goals, 10 assists, and a League One title to show for it. You don't do that by accident. He's got pedigree, confidence, and that raw attacking instinct we've been craving at Ibrox. And now, with Hull staring down the barrel of financial collapse, the 49ers smell opportunity. Let's not sugarcoat it. This is ruthless, but it's also smart. The 49ers aren't here to play nice. They're here to build a title-winning squad. If English clubs are crumbling, Rangers are ready to swoop in, take their brightest, and leave them licking their wounds. Just ask Sheffield Wednesday. Gassama's already on his way to Ibrox. Kamara clocked 5 goals and 3 assists in 37 appearances for Hull last term, but that only tells half the story. definitely tells. Go back to his under-21 days at Norwich, 50 games, 38 goals and assists. He's direct, confident, and can play off either flank. The type of player that gives defenders nightmares and gets you off your seat. This isn't just filling up the squad, it's building something for now and for years to come. These aren't desperate punts. These are sharp, calculated signings with resale value and room to grow. Martin knows him. He's followed his progress. And now with Hull vulnerable, Rangers can pounce. And you've got to give credit to Parag Maratham and the 49ers. There's a steal to this transfer policy. No more sentimental nods to underperforming names or overpaid passengers. This is precision. Cut price deals, high potential, no nonsense. But here's the question you might not want to answer. If Kamara signs and flops, while proven names like Lawrence Shankland or Martin Boyle light it up elsewhere, will you look back and ask whether Rangers are gambling too much on raw, untested potential instead of bringing in established, ready-made match winners? Right, here we go again. Another transfer saga that's dragging its heels longer than a VAR check at Parkhead. Conor Coady, the experienced England international, is still not a Rangers player, and to be blunt, it's starting to look a bit sloppy. Let's set the scene. Coady, 32, has just returned to Leicester's pre-season. After a relegation nobody saw coming last year, he's clearly surplus to requirements at the King Power, sitting in the final year of a contract that Leicester are desperate to get off their books. He's played over 2,000 minutes across all competitions last season, so he's match fit and ready. And what's more, he's already been teasing a move to Ibrox. The hints are there, he wants it. Rangers want it, Russell Martin wants it. So why the delay? The lad has 10 England caps, bags of Premier League experience, and leadership in spades. Exactly the kind of no-nonsense centre-half you'd want standing tall in a Champions League qualifier against Panathinaikos. He's not just a squad filler, he's someone who could walk straight into the back line and organise it like a sergeant major. Yes, we've brought in Giga, Fernandez and Aarons, but there's still a glaring need for someone with that commanding presence at the back, especially when we're looking at European nights under the lights at Ibrox. You need experience, composure, and that ability to drag teammates through a storm, and yet here we are, still waiting, still dragging it out. You can feel other clubs watching, rubbing their hands, thinking, if Rangers don't move fast, we'll have him. That's the danger. Cody might want the move, but in football, patience doesn't last forever, especially when the wages are high and his agents are getting restless. Now, look, I'm all for being thorough. You don't want to get rinsed in the market, but at some point, you've got to show intent. You've got to act like a club that wants to win the title, not one hesitating at the last hurdle. So here's the talking point for you. If Rangers lose out on Cody because they took too long, would that prove the board's all talk and no urgency, or do you back the strategy of holding out for the right deal, even if it means losing a player who clearly wants to be here? Don Hutcherson, ex-Scotland and Liverpool midfielder, has weighed in on Russell Martin's Ibrox revolution, and let's just say he's not sold yet. As in a rather cautious take, Hutcherson issued a wee warning about Martin's so-called ultra-possession philosophy. You know, that slow, methodical, keep ball stuff he played at Southampton. According to Hutcherson, if Martin dares bring that down south snooze fest to Ibrox, it won't fly for even 5 minutes. His words, not mine, and let's be honest, you know exactly what he means. Ibrox thrives on energy. The blood needs to be pumping, the tempo frantic, the tackles flying in, and the ball fizzing from back to front with purpose. This support doesn't just want wins, we want to feel the wins. We want a team that matches the passion in the stands, not one that plays pass the parcel at the back. But Hutcherson's not daft. He knows results will be the be-all and end-all. If Martin's Rangers win 10 games on the trot or are playing dull as dishwater football, you'll still be belting out every chant like it's Barcelona at home. That's the brutal truth of football. Still, when you're not winning, that's when patience wears thin. That's when style does matter. Martin needs to hit the ground not just running, but flying. And with signings like Max Aarons, Rothwell, and Gassama coming in, there's clearly a plan. But if that plan involves tip-tapping around our own box with no end product, well, he's been warned. Now here's the curveball. Hutcherson reckons Martin missed a trick by not going in for Lawrence Shankland this summer. Hearts captain, top scorer, plays with his heart on his sleeve, and yet no approach. That's raised a few eyebrows. Hutcherson likes him, says he's industrious, a fighter, and could have made the step up to Rangers. But Martin clearly has his own vision, his own profile of player, and Shankland wasn't it. Could be a stroke of genius or a misjudgment that comes back to haunt us if we're crying out for goals come winter. Now here's the real kicker, the bit that'll get folk talking. If Shankland bags 20 goals for Hearts again this season while our front line still misfires like it did last year, would you blame Martin for being stubborn with his system? Or would you admit that maybe, just maybe, he snubbed a proven domestic goal machine we desperately needed? If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.